Hey there, awesome RC fan. Welcome back to TJ's RC. Today's episode is just a brief review of the stainless steel hardware kit that I recently finished using during my troubleshooting series taking apart the TRX4 Bronco. After pulling everything apart on that truck, when we put everything back together again, we replaced all the original hardware with this stainless steel screw set for the Traxxas TRX4 by Horizon Hobbies. I believe this kit covers all the different versions of the TRX4. As you can see, I have a lot of parts left over, and I redid the entire chassis, and they don't have anywhere to go on the Bronco itself. Since it doesn't say Bronco or Defender or Sport, I'm assuming that it has enough parts in here for all the different versions of the TRX4. So let's set this down and head over to the bench and take a look. The original hardware has been replaced with stainless steel. Let me tell you, that was a lot of screws. One of the things that I did notice about the kit was that in a few places where it required a certain length bolt, it didn't actually have that length. It had one that was like a millimeter longer, but they were always in places like this where that extra millimeter hangover isn't actually going to interfere with anything. There's another spot there where it sticks out past the edge by a millimeter. And then there were a few like this spot here where it was a millimeter short. And I double checked and triple checked all the different lengths and hand measured each one to make sure that I wasn't using the wrong pieces. Pretty much each time it was in a place where it's not going to be an issue. There were so many extra screws in this kit that I'm going to have stainless screws for all kinds of stuff after this. There were even some extra long ones so that I could install my receiver box extension. I didn't have to get new long bolts to hold this in place because there were some extra long ones in the kit. So thank you, Horizon, for that. To sum it up, I'm actually pretty happy with it. It had everything I needed to take care of all the bolts in the chassis, so I got to give it a thumbs up for that. Considering how much extra hardware that I paid for that I didn't actually use, I'm not sure whether or not you could say that this is worth what I paid for it or not. I think if they created kits for the individual models, they could make them a little bit cheaper, but that's probably a lot more work than they're willing to put into something like this. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I like the shiny highlights on there. I know that that's not for everybody. Some people just like black. They don't care for the shiny metal, but that's okay. If that's not you, obviously you wouldn't be interested in this. However, it's one of the parts I like about it, not to mention the fact that the stainless steel has much better corrosion resistance than the metal hardware that came on the TRX4. That is definitely a benefit for me. If you're looking to improve the corrosion resistance of your rig, I'd suggest checking out one of these stainless steel kits. There's a couple different companies that make them. This is just the one that I ended up with. I'll put a link in the description to it, by the way, if you really want to check it out. There were a lot of extra parts, and I'm not sure where any of them go. I'm assuming that it's for some of the other models of the TRX4. Did I buy a bunch of extra parts that I didn't need? I don't have access to the other kits to know for sure. But otherwise, I'm very happy with this kit. Look forward to seeing how it works in the long run. Thanks so much for being here and watching the review. We'll see you in the next video.